Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story about my childhood. So one day, me and my friends, and there was three of us. I remember there was a girl called Lindsay, and there was another girl. I've forgotten who the other girl is now. And we were about 9. Yeah, 8 or 9, and we decided to have a picnic. So we got a sheet, like a mat, and we got some like food, and I grew up in the countryside, so we took ourselves off to this field near where we lived, and we sat down next to a stream, and it was sunny and it was lovely, and we were all sat eating like little sandwiches and things like that, and it was really idyllic. It was beautiful, and it was all nice and warm, and we were sat chatting. And then I felt something on the back of my head, and I put my hand to my head, and I was like, oh, what was that? And it felt kind of like something had bashed it. And then when I took my hand down, my hand was covered in blood. Like there was blood all over my hand. And I thought I'd cut my hand. Like that was the first thing I thought. And I said to my friend, I was like, oh, look! And my friend was like, ah! And we all started like being hysterical, and like we couldn't breathe, and we were like starting to cry and things. And then one of my friends was like, oh, I'm gonna go and get your mum. So we were all on bikes, so she got on her bike and rode off down the street, like away from the field, to go to my house and get my mum. And all I can remember is just sitting there crying, thinking that I'd cut my hand, because all I could see was my bloody hand. And then my other friend was like trying to calm me down and things. And then after a while, my mum came. It must have been like it must have been less than that, like a few minutes, like maybe a minute or two, because she came really quickly, and she was on her bike. And my mum was like, oh, what have you done? What have you done? And they all looked at my hand. And then like I could feel the blood dripping down my neck, and it was all on my clothes, on my back. So my mum was like, oh, it's not your hand, it's your head, which completely freaked me out. And I was like, ah! And then my mum rang an ambulance, and then I don't really remember a lot of it. I don't remember being in the ambulance, and I don't remember anything until we were at the hospital, and they were like looking at my head, and I'm not sure what they did. They must have like put stitches in it, or like them sellotape stitches, because I didn't really know what was going on. And then that was that, and then I went home, and they were like, oh, you know, wash your head the next day. So then the next day I had a bath, and I just remember, because blood is like really dark, and when I got into the bath and washed my hair, there was just blood in the bath, and it looked like the bath, I was just having a bath in blood. It was really gross, it was disgusting, and it was really scary. And like I shouted at my mum, and I was like, Mum, it's still bleeding! And she was like, no, it's okay, it's just the water. And I remember that, just being in a bath full of blood, which was gross as well. So then anyway, a week later, it turns out that because no one knew really what had happened. And then some people at school, because I had to be off school for a couple of days, and then some people at school told me that this boy, who I'm now friends with on Facebook, but we grew up together, he was called James, he was like my arch enemy. He had been hiding in the field, and they'd saw us go and have a picnic, and he'd thrown a stone which had hit my head, and then they'd ran off. So his parents found out about it. So a week later, after it all happened, I got like a letter of apology of James and his cousin Andrew. And I kept the letter for ages, but I think I've lost it now. And they bought me like a packet of chocolate sweets and sent me a letter saying that they were really sorry about it. So that was hilarious. And that was it. That's my story.